ways that we're marginalized in this community. We're marginalized economically, in employment, and housing, healthcare, all of the above. We have a current administration trying to erase our very existence.
Lord have mercy.
But yet, we are resilient. Look at us. We're here. We are from all over the United States, and we've come here to say what? We will not be erased. That's right. So, I want to invite up now, because we are so excited to see you all. I want you to know, this has been a labor of love. We've made some mistakes along the way. We know everybody wasn't happy, but what I'll tell you is we did everything we could to make this a positive experience for everybody. And so before I introduce your MCs for today, I want to bring up my colleagues so you can actually see the faces of the people who are organizing team member. Please join me on the stage. I want to see Marissa Miller, Lucky Alexander, Cameron Pizarro, Taylor Chandler, Greg Sindana, Mark Corman, Epiphany Don, Danny Barnhill Farrell, Shayla Demore, Minister Adalfi if you're not busy, and I want to see my trans ambassadors. We had a whole bunch of people working across the country that said that were ambassadors for this march. Let them through the door. Let them through the door. Come on in. Let them through the door. Let them through the door. Get up here. Get up here. Get up here. Get up here. Come on. These are the, and Cordelia Donovan, our PR director. I want you to know these are the people who have worked tirelessly for over a year. When people thought we wouldn't do it, we did it. We continue. We persist. So we here.
Okay.
All right, so I want you to give it up to these hardworking, passionate, committed activists and allies. Give it up to your National Trans Visibility March organizer. All right. Thank y'all. I'm going to introduce our MCs now. And then I'm going to try to relax because I'm sweating and I'm tired and I've had 2 hours of sleep. But y'all giving me energy right now. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna read off the bios for both of our MCs, and then I'm gonna turn it over to them for the rest of our program. Your first MC is Mia Sacha. Mia Sacha is a trailblazing community organizer and policy analyst with over a decade of experience advocating for racial, economic, environmental, and gender justice. Mia has a BA in political, legal, and economic analysis from Mills College, is an alumni of the Boards and Commissions Leadership Institute, and is the first trans graduate of Emerge California.
Yeah.
Bringing her experiences as a homeless youth and direct service provider, Mia has fought for a more equitable distribution of resources on over 10 committees in local government, including the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services, Oversight and Advisory Committee, which oversees a $1 million budget for critical services for youth. While appointed to the San Francisco Youth Commission, Mia helped secure free bus passes for 40,000 low-income youth and co-created a landmark LGBTQ+ diversity training program for 9,000 city employees.
Wow.
Mia's stand-up comedy set was highlighted in the Huffington Post. She was a featured artist in the National Queer Arts Festival, and she has emceed events including San Francisco's Women's March that was attended by 100,000 people. Mia has also lectured at over 30 universities, and she was recognized as California Woman of the Year and San Francisco Pride Grand Marshal. Mia is currently the Employment Services Coordinator at the San Francisco LGBT Center and is a delegate in the California Democratic Party. Our second MC probably doesn't need too much of an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Teek Milan. Teek Milan has been an advocate in the LGBT community for over a decade. He is also a writer and consultant who carved a niche for himself as a media advocate and one of the leading voices for transgender equality. Teek shares his story of being transgender and how this informs his views on masculinity, race, and gender. He travels throughout North America, leading discussions on healthy modes of masculinity, inclusive leadership, and creating cultures of consent. He has lectured at several universities, including Harvard, Stanford, and Brown, on the importance of inclusion as a tool of
All right, brother,
innovation
go on with your
and
burping
outlines concrete strategies for productive engagement. Now I want y'all to give it up for these MCs. Come on to the stage, Tika Mia.
What is up, beautiful people? Look at all of y'all. Damn. Y'all filled up this square quick. All right, y'all came out to show up and show out. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. We're going to have a great rally tonight, this morning, and we're going to have a great march. Thank you all so much for taking the time out to be here with us, to be here in unity, to be here in faith, to just support one another. So I want to talk about the reasons why we march. So many of us have come across the country in carpool and buses to be visible and to be heard. And there's no time like now for us to march. Our stories in pop culture have soared, as well as our existence in the public consciousness. Our stories are being told, but what is this all for? And what this is for is the reason why we march. We march to shift the culture of lovelessness and propaganda to truth and acceptance. Now, don't get me wrong, this ain't about begging people to see us or to love us, but standing in the way of people trying to invalidate our existence by pushing them to complicate theirs. Just being here, in our homes, in our schools, in our places of employment, and in this square, being self-determined in who we are and how we are and who we choose to love, pushes our oppressors and our loved ones to be vulnerable enough and courageous enough to see the spectrum of the human condition and hopefully to stand up in it. This is why we are here today. We rally and we march against the hundreds of pieces of anti-trans legislation that have been introduced to Congress in an attempt to strip us of our right to exist and live full and healthy lives.
Yeah.
On October 8th, the first trans civil rights case will be argued before the Supreme Court. Legendary trans man and superstar attorney at the ACLU, Chase Strangio, says, all right, give it up for Chase.
Yeah.
Chase says, we get this one shot to hold the line on what we have.
Hey, Sandra.
It is not a justice line, and it is nowhere near enough, but if we lose this, it will hurt a lot of people. And that's enough for me to try to keep the protections we have and have relied on to secure health care and employment and housing and credit protections. This is why we are here, and this is why we march. We march for the 19 black transgender women that we lost this year and the years past. We march for Dana Martin, Jaslyn Ware, Ashanti Carmen, Malaysia Booker, Michelle Tamika Washington, B. Love Slater, Bailey Reeves, Pebble Adime Doe, Tracy Single, Kiki Fantroy, Delani Berry Stuckey, Brooklyn Lindsay, Zoe Spears, Chanel Surlock, Chanel Lindsay, Paris Cameron, Jayla Berryman, and Bobby Walker. This is why we march. We march for them. We march for the trans men and trans masculine folks who have been erased from our vibrant history and who are ignored. We march for Kyla Brodus, for Imani Henry, for Little Axe, for Flex Jones, for Alexander Goodrum, for Lewis Mitchell, for Jim McHarris, for Jordan Kofer. This is why we march. We march for all of our low disclosure and non-disclosure siblings and brothers and sisters who choose not to be here because that's their right. We march for them. We march for our elders and for our ancestors whose names we will never know. For our people in little towns and rural areas in middle America and the South who don't have the opportunity to be here or to be heard. We see you, we love you, and we fight for you. We march for our young people who are blueprints to the future that will make this world a better place than the ones we were born into. Now is our time, and it is always our time, and this is why we march. Thank you, y'all.
This is why we march. How many of y'all are tired? Anybody tired? Anybody? Okay. I'm just glad I ain't the only one. Okay. My name is Mia Satya, and I'm from a small town in Texas. Hello, anyone from the South? You know, growing up, as a Southern Baptist conservative Republican family, I never thought that I would be here. And going through conversion therapy, masculinity classes, pray the gay away, didn't work.
Period.
I'm still here, I'm still queer, I'm still fighting for all of us. But I know that I was so lucky to survive high school, graduate high school. I ran away from Texas to move to California for a brighter future. I became homeless, I survived violence, I was unemployed, like so many trans people who come out to unsupported families. I know the statistics, I know y'all know the statistics, that trans people are more than 4 times likely to live on less than $10,000 a year than the average American. You know that 26% of LGBT kids, when they come out, are kicked out by their parents. Y'all know this. You know that 40% of the kids on our street who are homeless are LGBT. I've had a lot of privilege. I've had a lot of luck to get to where I am today. As a white woman, as someone with education, as someone who sometimes knows the right things to say in meetings. But I'll say that I still have depression, anxiety, and PTSD every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that for a long time, I thought that made me weak. But I know, and I hope you know, that these differences make us stronger. The ability to feel pain of a community that is disenfranchised is a power, and we need to tap into that. Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is ignorance.
That's right.
So I keep doing this work even though I'm tired, even though many of us have been doing this activism for decades and decades. What gets me up out of bed in the morning is my haters. Because so many people tried to keep you from coming here today, from thriving today, from surviving. But we get out of bed because we dream of a better future. And so, I know that a couple of people might not create a national movement. But a couple more people, we build momentum. You know, there's been a couple of things that I've been involved in locally where folks said, y'all ain't gonna do that. No, that's not gonna happen. That's not politically feasible, it's not economically feasible. But when we had a strategy, when we came together, when we formed coalitions and listened to those who are most impacted and marginalized, we got shit done. And I know that we will get shit done together today. So this is why we march.
All right, Mia. All right, now we're going to keep this rolling. We have a bunch of amazing speakers for you today. So first up, we have Sheila Alexander Reed, who is director of the DC Mayor's Office of LGBTQ Affairs.
Her work to shed light on issues affecting the voiceless among us cuts across every line that could divide us: gender, race, socioeconomic status, education level, and sexual orientation. She was formerly the director of strategic engagement at the Washington City Paper, vice president of strategic initiatives at the Washington Blade, founder and former executive director of the Women in the Life Association, as well as host of Inside Out, DC's only FM LGBTQ radio show.
In addition, Sheila formerly served as the vice president of the Gertrude Stein Democratic Club and represented Stein on the DC Democratic State Committee. Sheila has championed causes for young people, women of color, the LGBTQ community, and survivors of domestic violence. Please give it up for Sheila Alexander Reed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Woo! What a beautiful sight. So, thank you for inviting this black cisgender lesbian to come speak real quick. I'm going to speak on behalf of another black cisgender woman, Mayor Muriel Bowser. Hello and welcome to Washington, D.C., not only the seat of our nation's capital, but also home to over 700,000 residents. I am Sheila Alexander Reed, here representing the mayor as director of the Office of LGBTQ Affairs. DC is distinct in having an entire cabinet agency devoted to the causes, experiences, and issues that the LGBTQ residents face on a daily basis. Our office fights each and every day to make sure all our residents can lead a safe and thriving life. Visibility is good, but visibility is just the first step. Let's be honest. We see today politicians and presidential candidates rattle off things like Trans Lives Matter and list the names of those we lost too soon from our community. Yes, say their name, but then take action. Let's say it again. Say their name, but then take action. We are here in DC,
No, that's not.
committed to fighting for trans rights in all aspects of government, from ensuring an ID card represents you, to preventing housing discrimination, to making bathrooms accessible and safe, while still fighting to close the employment and income gap in the trans community. I'm proud to stand with the mayor who knows that in this time, we must fight for every right as one by one, our hard-fought rights as human beings are under attack. In that spirit, I'd like to present this march, this fabulous assembly of activists and allies with this proclamation. Whereas the National Trans Visibility March will gather in the nation's capital to raise awareness of discrimination, violence, and harassment, high rates of unemployment, homelessness, and negative health outcomes affecting transgender people. And whereas this event raises awareness of the Equality Act, which protects lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people from discrimination in employment, education, public accommodations, and housing. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March is being held to bring awareness to the new rule issued by HUD, which allows housing discrimination against trans people at federally funded homeless shelters, and forces trans women to share bathrooms and sleeping quarters with cisgender men. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March supports the healthcare rights law, which prohibits discrimination in health coverage and care by federally funded facilities. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March is demanding an end to the trans military ban, which will affect 15,000 troops currently enlisted in the military, and to reinstate protections for transgender kids in schools. And whereas the National Trans Visibility March is declaring a state of emergency regarding the epidemic of murder of black trans women and demanding appropriate police response. And whereas transgender Americans deserve to live their lives fully with dignity and respect. Now therefore, I, the mayor of Washington, D.C., do hereby proclaim September 28, 2019 in Washington, D.C. as Trans Visibility Day. Give yourselves a round of applause, and give a round of applause for Mayor Bowser. Woo! All right, now I'm going to speak just for a moment for a black transgender woman who's been very instrumental in bringing DC to where it is. This doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it doesn't happen overnight. Several trans black women are responsible for the progressive discrimination protections and rights that we have in DC. One of them is Earlene Budd. Earlene Budd was not feeling well this morning. She sent me a text around 7 a.m. She was very touched by getting an award last night at the Torch Awards. And because she's not feeling well, she asked me to speak on her behalf. And I said, Earlene, what do you want me to say? She didn't respond. That's because she's not feeling well. So I found a few words from another black woman named Maya Angelou.
Yes!
And I've adapted a little bit. And this is for Earlene Budd. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies.
All right now.
You may tread me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise.
Yes!
Whew. My ID may not match my gender expression, but still I'll rise.
Yes!
My sisters around the world targeted by violence, but still will rise.
Woo!
My undocumented sisters have no legal papers, but still will rise. HIV positive for years and still will rise. Employment discrimination rampant, but still will rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Woo! Yes!
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a great day. And let's make them not just list names, but take action.
Yes!
Thank you so much, Sheila. That was beautiful. All right, we're going to keep this show on the road. All right, so first, we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. We'd like to say thank you to Howard Brown Health, to NYC Pride, to AHF Flux, to the Tide Foundation, and to HRC. So next up, we are going to have Alfonso David. Alfonso David is an accomplished and nationally recognized LGBTQ civil rights lawyer and advocate, and he is the current president of the Human Rights Campaign. Mr. Davis is the first civil rights lawyer and the first person of color to serve as president of HRC in the organization's nearly 40-year history. So please give it up for Alfonso David.
Good morning.
Mafuma.
It's a great morning and a sad morning. As we gather here in the capital of the greatest country on earth, there is a crisis raging across our country. It's a crisis that is shattering dreams and shattering lives. It is a crisis that has been largely overlooked by the media. It's a crisis that has been met by inaction by many people in our cities and our towns. It is a crisis that has taken the lives of more than 150 transgender people in the past 5 years.
Wow.
Most of them Black transgender women.
Yes.
It is a crisis that none of us can ignore anymore. We have to stand up. We have to speak out.
Yes.
We have to demand action. Talking about it is not enough.
Yes.
We have to demand action because we need to prevent another life from being taken.
Yes.
Now, you know that we are in crisis when people will videotape a Black transgender woman being beaten.
Yes.
When someone can stand on the street and videotape someone being beaten. And then, only a few weeks later, that woman is murdered.
Lord have mercy.
For those of us who are gay, who are lesbian, who are bisexual, who are queer, who are straight,
Say it.
we have to stand up for the transgender community.
Yes. Woo! Yes. Yes.
We have to stand up for the transgender community and stand up for them as if they are our family.
Yes, that's right.
Because You are our family. And don't let anyone else tell you different. The transgender community is family. And together, we will beat back the hate and the indifference that we're seeing on our streets. I want to first thank and give gratitude to all of the organizations and all of the activists that have been doing this work on the ground for years. They didn't come here yesterday. You have been doing this work for years, and I want to thank you for doing it day in and day out. And I also want to ask you to fight harder than you've been fighting, to push our elected officials, to push our leaders, to make sure that they address this crisis with actual programs that work.
Yes.
No longer saying, I'm going to issue a piece of paper, I'm going to issue a press release, I'm going to issue a tweet. Issue something that actually means something and do something that actually has an impact on the lives of people that are being affected.
Yes.
Now, as you heard, I'm the new president of the Human Rights Campaign. I've been in this job for 2 months, 8 weeks. And I'm pledging to all of you that we're going to do something. Yes. And thank you. We're going to do something, and you hold me accountable.
That's right.
That's how it's supposed to work.
That's right.
After this speech, hold me accountable in 6 months. Hold me accountable in 1 year. Hold me accountable in 2 weeks. But don't just hold me accountable. Hold every single elected official, every single leader accountable. We cannot wait. We should not wait. Lives are on the line. We all know that. And I want to make sure all of you speak up and speak up loudly, because the transgender community needs us.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that all of us are there for them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alfonso. We also want to thank a couple more of our amazing sponsors for putting this show on. TransTech Social Enterprises, might have heard of it. International Court System, United Church of Christ, Southern AIDS Coalition, GLAD, Janssen, APLA Health, Headcount, The Brown Boy Project, SunTrust Banks, Napo Pharmacy, St. James Infirmary, Black, Gifted, and Whole. Now, our next speaker is an amazing social activist, entrepreneur, and writer. She has been recognized for her activist work by Hillary Clinton, The Advocate, Essence, Cosmopolitan, and Yahoo. She sits on the board of a number of gender family health rights organizations, including the Human Rights Campaign. Patterson was appointed by the United Nations as a champion of change. She lives in Brooklyn, New York, where she co-parents her 5 children with love, education, and family solidarity. Let's give it up for Jody Patterson.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. I'm Jody, and this is the first time I've spoken at a rally. I've never marched and spoken at a rally. For the past 20 years, I've been doing what I thought was best for my family. I've been raising 5 smart, educated, proud, confident Black children.
Yes.
I thought that was my main purpose. And then about 8 years ago, something happened. Someone said something to me. My child Penelope changed my life, changed the trajectory of my family, changed my purpose, changed my reality. Penelope was only 3 at the time, but there were reoccurring nightmares, nail biting until bloody, bullying. Penelope was pushing brothers, pushing sisters, pushing children on the playground. Penelope was a ball of anger, and I kept trying to fix it. I thought maybe more love, more stories. I thought maybe it was a dairy allergy, took out dairy from the diet. I was trying to do whatever a mother could do to fix the situation. And then one day I asked the question, I said, Penelope, why are you so angry? I had never asked. I said, why are you so angry? And Penelope said, because everyone thinks I'm a girl mama.
Wow.
And I'm not. I'm a boy. I thought that I was watching a feminist in action. I thought that Penelope, at only 3, was realizing the way that this world works in favor of men most of the time. And so in my support, I said, Penelope, however you feel is fine. If you feel like a boy, act like a boy. And Penelope quickly corrected me. No, mama, I don't feel like a boy.
Yes,
I am a boy.
I am. Yes.
I am a boy.
Yes.
Today, 8 years later, Penelope is fine. I realized that I had to transition. I had to change my bias. I had to unpeel all of the things that I had learned about being a woman, about being a man, about being a human. I had to change my ways from what I thought was to what the reality is. And the reality is that as a cisgender woman, I was blind to the LGBT community. I was blind to trans lives. I was blind to my own son. I didn't even see him, right? I missed 3 years with my son. And over the past 8 years, I've made it my business to change myself, right? To change myself. Let my son and my children, I have a cis child, I have a trans child, I have a genderqueer child, I have a few that are undecided, I have an atheist, I have a scientist. Let them be. Let me change myself. Let me change my ways and my language. Let me change where I spend my money and the companies I support. Let me change the schools that I speak at. Let me change my profession. I left the fashion industry and I decided that I want to be an active ally. I sat on Capitol Hill and I lobbied with our elected officials trying to change legislature. I now take the position of chairman of the board of the Human Rights Campaign.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I want us to redirect our money, Alfonso. I want us to redirect our money that was allocated just for gay white men, and I need to put it towards trans people, black trans boys, black trans girls, queer people of color. That money needs to go in that direction. Right? My activism is about shifting the power. My father used to tell me, baby girl, you weren't born to be pretty. You were born to change the status quo, to dream forward. And I tell Penelope today, don't settle for Instagram fame or pedestals or magazine visibility or gold coins. You change the damn paradigm. You shift the power. So America needs to be better.
Yes,
right now,
it
better.
does. Yes, it does.
Right? I'm not sure if America is ready to peel back all that we've wrapped around the transgender community. Transphobia, xenophobia, racism, sexism, economics. But Penelope is ready. My son is ready. Daniel Rustin was ready. Sylvia Rivera was ready. James Baldwin was ready. Dr. Maya Angelou was ready. I'm ready. You're ready.
Yes.
Right? So thank you for inviting me today to share this space with you. My friends have made me better. Hope, Teak, Dominique Jackson. They tap me on my shoulder and say, no. Think about that a little bit more. Sit back and relax. Follow our lead. I'm here to follow your lead. I'm here to march with you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to course correct. So let's march together.
That was on time. I'm glad she said that. It's about time somebody said it.
Hello. Hi everyone, my name is AC Dumlau and my pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I am a proud trans, non-binary, queer Filipino American, and I would like to quickly extend a warm welcome to not just our brothers and sisters, but siblings, to speak up for my non-binary, gender-expansive, two-spirit, and intersex siblings and say, you are seen today and you belong. I'm here representing the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, or TILDEF. We are a national organization which works on impact litigation, the Name Change Project, and community engagement. We recently filed an amicus brief for the upcoming October 8th Supreme Court case, Harris Funeral Homes, for Amy Stevens, a transgender woman who was wrongfully fired from her job for being herself. And so TILDEF is proud to represent and support this march, and I want to thank a few sponsors: the San Diego LGBT Community Center, DC Health, Black AIDS Institute, Anita Pharmacy, MAC, Fenway Institute, Whitman Walker, and the Center for Black Equity. And I am so proud to welcome Marissa Miller, lead strategist for the National Trans Visibility March, who will introduce our next speaker. Thank you so much.
When I say trans, you say power. Trans. 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 Yes. Listen, I have been talking for 365 days about the Trans Visibility March. I tried not to be on the program and they said absolutely not. But thank you to everyone that is here.
Yeah.
We were in Myrtle Beach at the Positive Women's Network, and it was a whole lot of stuff going on and people weren't getting along, and so some stuff had went on at the lunch plenary, and I said, well, we're gonna go to Araya Lester's room. Now, I don't know why Araya Lester had a bigger room than everybody, but she had a bigger room than everybody. And so we went to Araya Lester's room, and this young lady named Lynn out of Atlanta said there needed to be a trans march. Let me be very clear, this is not my vision, this is hers.
Yes! Yes!
This is not my vision, this is yours. We just had the ability through a fantastic organizing team to make it happen. They told me to stay on task. So Lynn Diane Prince Morrison was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, where she lived up until the age of 29. In 1997, she relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, and transitioned in 1990. She has worked in the city of Alabama for 20 years, a loyal member of SNAPCO and Legender out of Atlanta. Lynn is the leader and has fought hard to address the violence against Black trans women.
Yes.
She knows the hardship of Black trans women firsthand, and this is why she is marching. She believes the National Trans Visibility March will be the central, increasing awareness about trans people and gaining support for our rights as Americans and as humans. Will you help me by raising your fist all across here? And will you welcome my sister, Miss Lynn Morrison?
Go ahead, Auntie.
Here we go.
Go ahead, Auntie. Come on, Lynn.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Where my girls at? Where my girls at? We're here in D.C. I'm used to being in Atlanta, y'all. We're here in D.C. Again, where are my girls? Here we go. I did this and wanted this because I love all of you. It's about loving each other, honoring each other, trusting each other for what we need. We needed this march. We've been killed across the globe. More so here in America, where you're supposed to be free. To be who you are.
Speak on that.
The free and the brave. Ain't nobody no more braver than us. Than I can tell. Nobody. Nobody can endure the injustice that we have and still stand strong. Nobody. It's about us today, us tomorrow, and from here on out. Our time is now, not yesterday, not the other day, but now. We're going into the future. I want you to come with me. Stand with me into the future. Evolution comes at time of hardship. People will fall to the wayside. People will argue. They will vent. They will hate. But nothing destroys that more than love. Nothing. So if you love us, honor us, stand with us. If you're an ally, be one. Be one. When a girl is hurt, killed, burned in a car, like she's nothing, I need y'all to stand up. for us and nothing else. We're human, we're beautiful, and we're here. Trump, I want you to understand, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stand strong, firm, and we're going into the future. Either you can stand with us or you're against us. And so far, we can tell that you're not on our side, that you're an enemy than a frenemy. And those are worse. We know where you're coming from. At least a frenemy, we can tell about judge who you are. We don't know. But you've shown us with your actions. Now we're going to show you ours with our actions from this day forward. I call a truce, and I'm meaning this. I'm holding every girl in this room, in this space, to task. A truce to say no more backbiting, arguing, fussing, arguing for no reason. You are your sister's keeper. I need you to be that, because no one else will. They will push you, shun you, not love you. But we can love each other beyond words, and we have. I call you to task, my people, my sisters. I call for a true solidarity amongst us. We've never had that. They think we weak. They think we're too hurt and too damaged. To have a solidarity, to have a unity that we've never had. We can show these people what true love looks like, what true solidarity looks like, what true honoring of each other looks like. It ain't about who's passable, who's not. But at the end of the day, they want us all dead. All of us. So stand with me into the future. I love you. I've done this for you. I dreamed of this moment for you. Not for me, but for you. And we're here. So I need each and every person from this day forward to spread the word about the march, how empowering it was, so next year we can have 3 times the number. I need y'all to share this on your Facebook page, any page that you got and folks are willing to listen. Share it. Let them know. Trans power is here. Trans power is love. And our slogan I'm declaring is I am my sister's keeper. That part. I love you, and let's have this march, y'all.